Welcome everyone, this is Sean Stewart from Digihammer Social Media Marketing, and I want to tell you today the best ways that local business can utilize social media in 2021. Now, many of you have probably already been using social media for a while and wondering, well, what's changed since 2020? Is anything different? And in some ways, things are very much the same. There have been some monumental changes that are coming down the pike, though. The biggest of those really is the Apple privacy policy that they're implementing on their latest version of their iPhone. Apple has about, 30% of market share in the mobile phone space, and this is the way that the majority of people are accessing social media these days. So what happens is when people get the new operating system and they use a social media app like Facebook or Instagram, the first time they use that app, the operating system is going to ask them, do you want to be tracked by this app when you use it? Now, if you're like me as a consumer, most people will probably say, no, I don't want to be tracked by this app. And so from a consumer privacy perspective, it's fantastic. But from a marketing perspective, it's definitely going to have an impact, because what happens is Facebook will make sure that it can track what you're doing on other websites. And the reason it does that is so that when it serves up ads for you in its platform, it's going to try to serve up things that are relevant to you, things that you are interested in. And the way it knows that you're interested in those is because you visited those websites when you were doing your surfing, and they tracked you when they did that. Now, of course, that feels sort of notorious and underhanded. Why is Facebook tracking me? What's going on here? I severely doubt that it has really any sinister applications to it. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. And so as a marketing guy, as somebody who has been in marketing for many, many years, this is really a marketer's dream to be able to serve up ads that are relevant to the person who is looking at the ad, because they're much more likely to want to act on that ad when they see it. So this move by Apple will have an impact. We'll see how quickly it takes effect. And the biggest impact it will have is on, of course, Facebook advertising and targeting. But we'll be watching that closely and doing a future video that talks about that in more detail. So let's dive in instead today to what should you be doing right now today in 2021 if you're a local business and you're trying to utilize social media to build your business and find new customers. Well, we just talked about Facebook, and we're going to go right back to it because they're the biggest one of them all. They're the big granddaddy, and you need to be on Facebook if you have a business and you're trying to reach people. That's where the most people are. That's still the most active social media platform, and I don't see that changing this year anytime soon. Of course, there's been all sorts of information about Facebook in the news and social media in general and in regards to the election and deplatforming people and all that sort of stuff. But from a business perspective, for most businesses, that's something to the side and not something that you should really be too focused on. Because it's a great place for your business to be to do business. And of course, the way you do that is by making sure you have a business page on Facebook. They're quite robust these days. There's multiple types of business pages that you can select from, depending on what your business is. But you absolutely need to have one. And you should also make sure that if you haven't gotten a Facebook business page, that when you do that, the first step you do is get a Facebook business account. And that's tied to your personal account. Both the page and the business account are tied to your personal account. But get the business account first, and then create a business page that's tied to that business account. It makes it so much easier in the long run if you do it in that way. Both for yourself and in the future, if you outsource any of your social media to an agency like mine, it makes it much, much, much easier. Secondly, on Facebook, you should, where appropriate, join your Facebook page to Facebook groups. Facebook groups have become really, really robust in the last couple of years. There's a Facebook group for everything. Where I live, there are multiple Facebook groups just for the town I live in. There's probably a half dozen or more, all around the topic of the town I live in. And they cover all sorts of things, rumors and news and information about the schools, and many times local businesses can post in there. And that's why you want to be in Facebook groups, because many of those groups will allow you to post information about your business in those groups. Now, you have to read the rules of each group carefully. They all have different things that they allow or don't allow, so you don't want to join a group and just start spamming them with basically posts and ads about your business. You want to make sure you're following whatever their rules are. But it's a great place to be, a great place to check out, especially if you're a local business and there are groups that are geographically related to the town or towns that you're doing business in. And the third place in Facebook you really want to investigate and consider doing business in is with Facebook advertising. There are some great options for local businesses with Facebook advertising. There are several, and I'll just touch on one here. We'll do a full video on it later, but one of the greatest ones you can do are Facebook leads, especially if you're a service-based business like an HVAC company or something like that. You can use the Facebook lead form that's built right into the platform, capture those leads. And if you have your own CRM system, often it's quite easy to pull those leads right into your CRM system so that they're all centralized in one location, easy for you to deal with and to contact. Hopefully you have a really good CRM system so that when you bring those leads in, it already has set up so that you can do some drip marketing campaigns to those leads once they get pulled in from the Facebook lead form. It's really a fantastic way to generate leads and to qualify those leads and to turn them into paying customers. I've helped clients generate thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in real revenue for their businesses using that method. And you can do it too. It's really, really great. The next place on social media you should be thinking about in 2021 is Instagram. Of course, Facebook owns Instagram. So they work pretty well together. Facebook, over the last couple of years, has been building them closer and closer together, deliberately so, of course, so that when you can post on Facebook, you can cross-post at the same time right over to Instagram. If you're smart, when you're doing that, you can create image sizes that are identical and will work on both platforms. I tend to use a perfect square, 1080 by 1080 pixels, because it looks great on both Facebook and Instagram at the same time. Of course, on Instagram, they have built into it the convention of hashtags. Right from inception, they've been doing that. They've tried to port that over to Facebook as well, so you see them more and more often on Facebook, but Instagram was built in from the ground up with the idea of hashtags. And so whenever you're posting on Instagram, you should have at your fingertips a number of hashtags, up to 30, that you're using to identify your business and reach out to communities who are searching for those hashtags within Instagram. You should definitely use Instagram, I should say, if you have a very visual brand, things that you can illustrate in a really creative way that will be engaging to people when they look at those images. It's built to be visual, and if you have that type of brand, you absolutely should be on Instagram. Now, although this is third on my list, the next one, to me, this is the most important place you should be today on social media, and that's Google My Business. Now, sometimes people don't think of Google My Business as a social media platform. It's really kind of a hybrid between a social media platform and a search engine optimization tool. And that's because it's the tool that Google gives us to help them know about our businesses. And when we do that, when we nurture our Google My Business page and we're updating it often with posts and pictures and information, Google rewards that. And the way they reward that is with higher search engine rankings. Today, search engine rankings are the modern day version of the Yellow Pages. And if you're not high in search engine rankings, you're basically not in the Yellow Pages. You're not in the phone book. But with Google My Business, if you're using it right, you can improve your search engine rankings and get to the top of that list relatively easily. And for me, it's the number one thing I pitch to my clients when I say, if you're going to be on social media, you absolutely have to be on Google My Business, and you should be nurturing that account. It's a must-do in this day and age. Next is LinkedIn. This is, of course, a business-to-business network. It's a great place to highlight your business, highlight information, provide value for people who are searching for it. Sometimes people misuse LinkedIn and think, oh, I'm just going to promote myself, and I'm going to use it, essentially, my posts as an advertising forum. That's okay, but it doesn't really fly super well on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is about providing information and value to people. And when you take that approach, you'll be rewarded with people starting to follow your page on LinkedIn, your business page, and you can find business that way. It's really, in many ways, an untapped social media platform, but a robust one, and one that you should be looking at for your business. Next, we've been talking for several years about how video is really the next big platform for social media. Of course, you can do video on Facebook, you can do video on YouTube, you can do video on Instagram and other platforms. You can do it on Google My Business. That functionality is there for you, of course. But what I'm emphasizing here is that video is becoming more and more important. It's being pushed to the front by platforms like TikTok, where it's all about video. And you're finding more and more in this day and age that people are using platforms like YouTube as an entertainment channel for themselves. They're cutting their cable cord, they're cutting their satellite, and they're watching their entertainment on things like YouTube. And so you need to seriously be thinking about, how am I going to get a visual video presence in my social media? The time is now. A year ago, I would have been saying, yeah, you need to start dabbling in it. You need to start figuring it out. This year, I'm saying this is the year you need to get into video. Video is more important than ever, and it's becoming the dominant format. And if you get in now, you'll be ahead of the curve. But you've got to get in now. And that means, starting a YouTube channel, doing videos on a regular basis, putting them on Facebook, putting them on Instagram, putting them on LinkedIn, putting them on Google My Business, getting comfortable in front of the camera. You don't need great equipment. Probably you have a smartphone. That's good enough. But over time, you can upgrade your equipment as you start doing more and more video. But, don't invest a lot early. Get something that's good enough and then just get started. That's the most important thing. Get started. And that leads me to some other platforms that maybe you're wondering about here in 2021. What about TikTok? I just mentioned them a couple minutes ago. Should I be on TikTok? I think the answer for most businesses is probably not yet. If you're a local business, probably not yet. We're probably still a year away from real maturation of TikTok as a platform, especially for local businesses. You might want to get an account just so you can see what's going on there and get some really great ideas about how people are using video. There's a lot of creative stuff going on there. But from a business point of view, unless you're really adventurous, I'd say wait for now, unless you really want to just test it out. What about Pinterest for local businesses? Well, Pinterest can be a really great platform for local businesses. But again, you have to be a very visual type of brand for that to work for you. Pinterest is very much a unique platform where people are looking at images and they're saving them and they're pinning them and they're sharing them. And it's all about the visual. And so if there's information that you can share visually, or if your brand is just naturally visual, then yes, you probably want to be on Pinterest. But for other brands, like I talked about an HVAC company earlier, is an HVAC company a type of brand that should be on Pinterest? I'm a little skeptical of that. Maybe you could make it work, but I think there are probably better places for an HVAC company than Pinterest. But for the right brand, yes, Pinterest could be a great place for you. What about funnels? Everybody's talking about funnels. You need to be on funnels. You need to be on ClickFunnels or one of the other platforms. And the answer is maybe. I like funnels. I like them a lot. I think they're a great way to qualify leads and generate leads. They take a lot of work figuring out how to make them work. Or you need to hire that out for somebody who's a specialist who can help make that happen for you. But if you're prepared for that type of work, or if you're prepared to outsource, they're a great place. They're a great place to generate leads and qualify leads. And so, yeah, I think you should be thinking about it. But you've really got to be dedicated and persistent with funnels to figure out how they work, and then to go actually do that work. So, definitely something to look at, and something maybe to talk to somebody about and investigate for you and your business. So what are your thoughts? Where do you think people should be in 2021 on social media? Leave your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to read them. I'd love to dialogue with you and see what you think. And if you haven't done so already, please click the subscribe button. Click that bell so you'll be notified whenever we do a new post. And feel free to reach out to us at digihammer.com. We're always happy to talk social media, share ideas, and see what's on your mind. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time. Bye.